This video was made possible by Brilliant. Learn complex topics simply by being one of the first 200 to sign up at brilliant.org/RealLifeLore. Falling down is something that nobody really likes. Even if you think you like skydiving or bungee jumping or base jumping, you don't really. Or at least your body doesn't really, because that thrill that you feel while you're falling is kind of more like an instinctual panic built up over millions of years of evolution that's trying to remind you of all of your ancestors that have died doing what you think is fun. Anyway, this got me thinking about what's the highest possible distance that you can jump off of and fall from anywhere in the world. But before we get into that, we need to establish a very important rule. The distance of your fall needs to be continuous and vertical, meaning that you can't just jump off of something, hit something else, and bounce off and continue falling some more. We're looking for the longest and cleanest vertical jump you can make anywhere in the world. So let's look around a bit at some of the contenders. The tallest man-made building that you could jump off of is theoretically the Burj Khalifa in Dubai. At 828 meters tall, your fall from the top down to the bottom would take approximately 20 seconds of continuous freefall. But that's absolutely nowhere near the tallest height that you can take a jump from, because nature continues to totally dominate this category. You might think that the obvious answer here would be Mount Everest, but that's just absolutely not the case. Remembering our major rule from earlier about a strictly vertical freefall eliminates Mount Everest from the contention, because while Everest does have some pretty steep cliffs, I mean look at these, the mountain is overall pretty jagged in structure, so if you jumped from the top you would just hit another piece of rock, die, bounce off of that, and then make more of a tumbling motion down the mountainside like this. That's not exactly what we're looking for, and there are cliffs elsewhere in the world that offer significantly higher freefalls than any of the ones do on Everest. One of these cliffs is more like a super deep hole in the Tianjin Cave of China. There's a shaft inside of this cave that plummets down 1,026 meters below in a directly vertical hole, deeper than the Burj Khalifa is tall. Theoretically, you could jump into this hole and freefall for roughly 24 seconds in total complete darkness before hitting the bottom. But other natural features will even outdo this one in epicness. If you're looking for the absolute highest vertical drop to fall from in the world, then you need to schedule a visit here on Baffin Island in the Nunavut province of Canada. It's one of the most sparsely inhabited places in the world, but if you make the trek out into the middle of nowhere to the epically named Mount Thor, you'll discover the single tallest confirmed vertical cliff anywhere in the world. This cliff you see here is actually at a 105-degree angle, so it's even steeper than vertical. Human beings didn't even successfully manage to climb up to the top of it until 1985. But if you could somehow get up there and jump off from it, you'll experience a truly vertical freefall from 1,250 meters above the surface that'll last for roughly 28 seconds long before you impact the surface. However, I said that this is only the tallest confirmed vertical cliff in the world. Owing to the extremely remote location that it's located in, there are other cliffs scattered around Nunavut and Greenland that could potentially be even higher, but they've never been identified, so we have no idea right now. But there is actually one confirmed cliff that's actually a higher vertical drop, and it's located around here in the far northern portion of Pakistan. A group of mountains here called the Trango Towers offers up a pretty spicy challenge to the tallest vertical drop claim offered up from Mount Thor. The tallest mountain in the group, called Great Trango, is widely considered the most difficult mountain in the entire world to climb, and for very, very good reason, because it features a nearly vertical cliff that plummets 1,340 meters over the top. The cliff isn't quite literally as vertical as the cliff on Mount Thor is, so there's quite a bit of cliff controversy and arguments in the geography world over its status, but that's all for the nerds to figure out. You came here because you just care about the tallest drop. So if you made it to the top of Great Trango and jumped off, your nearly vertical fall would clock in at roughly 30 seconds long, or 2 seconds longer than a jump from the top of Mount Thor would be. Congrats! You've now discovered the highest possible point to jump off and experience a freefall from anywhere on the Earth's surface. but what about outside of Earth? I mean, cliffs exist elsewhere in the universe, right? Surely there must be a cliff even higher up than anything we have here on Earth. And it turns out there are. If you could somehow make it over to Uranus, Uranus, and then hop on over to Uranus's moon, Miranda, you can discover a cliff that's a whopping 20 kilometers high. That's a vertical cliff face more than twice the height of Mount Everest is on Earth. And you can also totally jump off of it and survive. Because the gravity on Miranda is way less than it is on Earth, it would take you about 12 minutes to jump off from the top of it before you'd hit the bottom, and you'd only be falling at around 124 miles per hour. I mean, that still does sound pretty bad, I guess, but all things considered, if you had some airbags, you could probably end up making it work out. Now, I know what everybody is going to say next. What about jumping out of airplanes? That definitely does count for a vertical freefall, so let's move on to these types of jumps next. A woman named Vesna Vulovic currently holds the world record for the tallest height ever survived falling out of an airplane without a parachute. I made an entire video already just focusing on her incredible story, but in short, she managed to survive a fall from over 10,000 meters up in the sky after her plane blew up, and she did all of it without a parachute. She probably fell for around 3 minutes and 25 seconds, give or take. But that's far from the longest freefall. Famously, in 2012, this dude named Felix Baumgartner and the team at Red Bull Stratus broke the world record for the world's highest freefall. Baumgartner rode in a capsule attached to a balloon up to a freakishly scary height of 39 kilometers above the Earth's surface, before he just jumped out with nothing but a pressure suit and a parachute. His freefall lasted for 4 minutes and 19 seconds, and his body reached a speed of 843.6 miles per hour, becoming the first human being whose body broke the sound barrier without the assistance of any engine. The Red Bull team believed that his freefall could have been extended safely to anywhere between 5 minutes and 6 minutes, but he deployed his parachute a little early instead. Just 2 years later, however, in 2014, his freefall record was broken by another dude named Alan Eustace. Rather than going up in a fancy capsule, Eustace just tethered himself to a balloon, flew up to a ridiculous 41.4 kilometers high, and used an explosive device to detach himself and begin his fall. Eustace was in a complete free fall for 37,616 meters before he deployed his parachute, and it took him 4 minutes and 27 seconds to accomplish, earning him the title of the guy that's fallen the furthest and the longest in all of human history. His record still stands tall today, but the limit that humans can endure is certainly even beyond that. The Red Bull Stratus team estimated that they could potentially pull off a freefall pushing into the 6-minute range, and the feats of Baumgartner and Eustace have proven that human bodies can endure drops from the stratosphere and speeds that break the sound barrier. Whatever the limit of human freefall actually is, it certainly hasn't yet been reached, and I'm certain that the world record will continue to be pushed upwards and broken in the future by somebody. That somebody may even be watching this video right now, and I can only hope so. If you're serious about skydiving, base jumping, bungee jumping, or you really do want to break the freefall world record one day, or you're just into anything that really gets your adrenaline pumping, you'll need a serious understanding of everyday physics, and there's no better place to learn about that than on Brilliant with their Physics of the Everyday course. Physics is, of course, a pretty daunting field, and while a lot of places will just teach you some physics concepts, Brilliant will help you understand how physics works in your everyday life. From refrigerators and motocross to airplanes and crime scene investigations, Brilliant focuses on the fundamentals of subjects by teaching them in an approachable, intuitive way that really helps you understand how to use what you end up learning later on in the more advanced classes, like moving on from everyday physics up to quantum mechanics. Brilliant's many interactive courses on physics are just some of their many fantastic courses, which also include daily problems that will help teach you something new every day, complete with the framework that you need to tackle them. So if you want to learn complicated topics easily during your spare time, then it's totally worth checking them out right now. To learn more about Brilliant, you can click the link in the description or go to brilliant.org/reallifelore and sign up for free, but then the first 2 200 people who go to that link will also get 20% off of their annual premium subscription, which is the subscription that I've been using to learn even more about physics. And as always, thank you for watching.